falling on the windowsill. How dark hovering the night. I will hold you till the storm is over, till you wake into the light. Rain is falling on the windowsill. How dark hovering the night. I will hold you till the storm is over, till you wake into the light. Falling on the windowsill. How dark hovering the night. I will hold you till the storm is over, till you wake into the light. Till the storm is over, till you wake into the light. How dark hovering the night. I will hold you till the storm is over, till you wake into till the storm is over, till you
Good morning. My name is David Jones, and my pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm a member of the worship committee, and I'll be your worship associate this morning. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are in your life's journey, you are welcome here. Welcome to this virtual service of the Unitarian Society of New Haven. We are a diverse, multi-generational faith community that inspires lives of compassion and generosity, nurtures spiritual growth, cultivates transformative connections, and creates a more just world. This is a congregation that believes Black Lives Matter, that every person has the right to affirm their gender identity, and that all people are inherently worthy. We acknowledge that our sanctuary sits on the land traditionally that of the Quinnipiac and other Native people. As a congregation, we seek to heal the wounds of the past and present in ongoing work of reconciliation. If you're joining us for the first time, we're so glad you chose to spend this time with us. We meet electronically for now, but we know we will be together again in person. The email address of the membership team is on the screen, and you can visit usnh.org to find out more about us. There will be a Zoom meeting for newcomers immediately following the service. And don't forget, next Sunday, November 1st, is daylight savings time, and we will get our clocks set back 1 hour.
Gather we now into this space, this time when the wheel turns and the veil shatters. Gather we now to remember, to grieve, to prophesy, to complete our harvests before the long dark comes. Gather we now to tell the old stories and sing the old songs, to be as we have always been, the voice of our people eternal. Gather we now to celebrate that which was, that which is, and that which will be. Gather we now, as we always have done, united by story and bound by love.
As chalice flame turns candle to light,
So we let go of what we held tight. May warmth of hope burn on and on, knowing that no one is ever truly gone.
Traditions hold us together. They give us something to look forward to pour our energy into, and to count on in tough times. In the town of Hope, located just south of Providence, 4 friends had an unbreakable bond based in tradition. It was 2020, and Rajesh, Amaya, Selena, and Emerson had met every year since kindergarten at the corner of Hope Road and Lippitt Avenue to go trick-or-treating right at 6:30 p.m. on October 31st. Neither rain, nor snow, nor sleet, nor pandemic could keep them from making their appointed rounds. Hope was relatively small, and the town council had determined that if everyone wore masks and practiced social distancing, and if homeowners put candy in separate bags, trick-or-treating could go on. It was special this year for Rajesh, Amaya, Selena, and Emerson. They were all in 6th grade. And in their last year at Hope Elementary School, they would be off to War and Tea Peace Middle School next year, where they were afraid that they might lose the close connection that they had had so far. In prior years, they had always chosen a theme for their costumes. One year, they had all gone as favorite cartoon characters. Another year, they had gone as different reptiles, an iguana, a turtle, a snake, and an alligator, as it turned out. I wonder which reptile you would go as if you were to use those costumes. This year, they had all agreed to go as their personal heroes. They had been working on their costumes for months, and in keeping with their tradition, they hadn't told each other what they were going to be, outside of the general theme. 6:30 p.m. on All Hallows Eve at the corner of Hope and Lippitt was so much more to them than just gathering for candy. It was a revelation of who they were, and this year was no different. At 6:29, 4 lamplights approached the corner, and 4 6th graders emerged from the fog, surprised at each other's visage. In keeping with tradition, they introduced themselves one by one. "I am Lord Rama, an incarnation of Vishnu," said Rajesh. "I am Hecate, Wiccan goddess of magic and the crossroads," Amaya replied. "And I am La Catrina, the Aztec-Mexican goddess who connects the living with their dead ancestors," Selena chimed in. "Well, hello, everyone. I'm glad to see you here," Emerson began. "I am Florence Nightingale, nurse, statistician, and revolutionary. But tonight, you can just call me the Lady with the Lamp." Speaking of which, Rajesh said, "Have you noticed something? We all have lamps. It also looks like we chose people or images from our culture's past," replied Selena. "Ooh, I've got an idea," Amaya said with a smile. "Since this is our last year at Hope, let's take a moment and tell our costume story and why we chose it before we go trick-or-treating." "That's a great idea. It'll be just like check-in at my RE class," Emerson said, nodding excitedly. Rajesh went first. "I am Lord Rama, an ancient prince from a city in India called Ayodhya. I was banished from my kingdom after my evil stepmother wanted her son to be king instead of me. I could have fought, but I knew that respecting my elders was the most important value I could have. So, without complaining, I went out to live in the forest with my brother Lakshman, my wife Sita, for 14 years. While we were there, a demon named Ravana kidnapped Sita and took her to his home. I chased him there, and we had an epic battle. With the help of a friend I had made along the way named Hanuman, we won and rescued Sita. But then we were so far from home, we didn't know the way back to Ayodhya. Meanwhile, my brother Bharata, who had been king while I was in the forest, realized that he was not destined to rule. The throne was really supposed to be for me. The people of Ayodhya got together and lit lamps like these. They lit lamps to guide their true king and queen home. Even today, on a holiday called Diwali, people still light lamps called diyas to symbolize the triumph of good over evil and to light Rama, Sita, and Lakshman's way home. I carry this lamp and am dressed as Rama as a way to honor my ancestors and the wisdom they have left for me through the years. My mother taught me a quote from Rama that's always stuck with me. "All children are seeds. The seed that tries to grow too close to its parent tree will forever be in that tree's shadow. The seed that floats too far away on the wind will land far, far away from the safety of the forest. We do well to wander on our own, but we do even better when we remain connected to the 1,000 trees that came before and spent themselves, giving each of us life." Rajesh got quiet and looked to Amaya to tell about her costume. But before she could speak, a group of revelers passed in a nearby parking lot, singing a song of deep love and connection with the ancestors, and all 4 children stopped to listen.
Amaya was the next to tell the others about her costume. My family celebrates the pagan wheel of the year, as well as attending Sunday services, and Halloween, well, we call it Samhain, is considered the beginning of the year. Really? Asked Emerson. So today is New Year's too? Halloween just keeps getting better and better. The four friends laughed. Amaya continued, the wheel of the year includes the spring and fall equinoxes, the summer and winter solstices, and what are known as the cross quarters, which are halfway in between. Like Samhain is halfway between the first day of fall and the first day of winter. Samhain is also considered the time when the veil between the worlds is thinnest and when it's easiest for the living to communicate with our beloved dead. So who's Hecate? Asked Rajesh. Hecate is the goddess of magic and spells, as well as the goddess of the crossroads. People might leave offerings to her at crossroads, asking for her blessing and guidance. One thing she's known for is helping Demeter, goddess of the harvest, search for her daughter Persephone, who had been abducted and taken to the underworld. Hecate carried a torch to help with the search. I've seen images of her with a lantern too, which seemed safer for trick-or-treating. She's a very powerful goddess. I've worked with her a little bit, like after my Nana died. I love that she is both this fierce person who traveled to see Hades and works with the dead, as well as this low-key softie who transformed a queen trying to avoid a terrible fate into a dog that became her companion. Halloween is also kind of Hecate's thing, you know? So how better to show her respect than by remembering her on her big day? The children all agreed that Hecate was really cool and held silence for her presence. In their silence, they listened to the wind in the leaves, to the fading voices of revelers, and lifted up the joys and sorrows that swelled their hearts and filled their memories.
Good morning. I am Linda Pollock, a longtime member of USNH, and currently a member of the Pastoral Care Team. Let us turn our attention to the concerns of this community. I now invite you to join me in holding in our hearts the joy and sorrow of those around you. Today, some woke with a sorrow so great, they asked for the help of this community to carry it. Others woke with a joy so great, it must be shared. James and Amanda Erard would like to share their joy at being Elsa's mama and papa for 10 years today. Happy 10th birthday, Elsa. You bring much joy to our lives. And my second joy I would like to share comes from my memory book. In 1996, members of our congregation performed a musical called Yanomamo. It was about a tribe of people, the Yanomami, who lived in the jungle along the Amazon River. We had an intergenerational cast of 80 who participated, and it was wildly popular. At the time, the forests in the jungle were being burned to make way for farming and cattle ranching. The native people who lived there, the Yanomami, were being forced out of the land which they had inhabited for centuries. The music was written to help in an effort to stop the burning. It included wonderful songs about the living trees, the people, the river, the jungle garden, and best of all, the animals and creatures that inhabited the jungle. Today, I am wearing one of the costumes from that show, and here are 2 clues to who I am. I sleep a lot, and I move very slowly, and this is my song. I really do not feel the need for speed, for the joys and sorrows that haven't been spoken, but which remain in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts, we bear witness.
The spoken meditation this morning was written by Reverend Linda Susan Ulrich. Long before we were born, we were loved. As we heard in the song by Dr. Barnwell, we are our grandmother's prayers, our grandfather's dreamings, the breath of our ancestors. Long after someone we love has died, we love them still. We carry them in our hearts and memories, in our courage and visions. During these last 7 months, several people from among us here at USNH have died. Those absences change us as a congregation, and they deserve to be mourned. At this time of year, when so many cultures honor their beloved dead, we take a few minutes to honor ours. I invite you to take a relaxed breath and as you watch the slideshow meditation, send love to those who have passed and to those who grieve. Let us gently hold the silence together. Our community continues while we remain apart, and the need for ongoing support continues as well. While the music plays, I urge you to consider navigating to the usnh.org website and making a donation. Donations can also be sent by U.S. mail to the Unitarian Society of New Haven, 700 Hartford Turnpike, Hamden, Connecticut, 06517. The offering will now be gratefully received.
So we bring our attention back to Rajesh, Amaya, Selena, and Emerson, the four children of hope who are marking the Halloween season with costumes honoring sacred ancestors and heroes. It was Selena's turn to speak and to tell about why she was dressed in a flowing black dress with a flower-adorned hat, but with her face painted, black and white with the bones of a skeleton. It seemed strange and mysterious to the others, but Selena smiled, lifted her lamp to her face, and introduced herself. I am La Catrina, and I come out for Dia de los Muertos to help the living connect with their beloved departed ancestors. Think of me like a dancing, chattering Dia, who stands proudly with one foot in this world, full of flowers, full of life. My other foot rests in the land of the dead. I am a bridge between the two worlds. In the land of the dead, I must walk as a skeleton, bare bones, just to fit in. In this world, I wear flowers, the ultimate symbol of life. But I'm not scary. I'm not here to frighten anyone. In fact, I carry a light because on that bridge, where everyone who is alive is able to reconnect with loved ones who have moved on from life, I illuminate their way. The spirits of the dead come to the bridge and I guide them across, meeting the living who wait with gifts of food and flowers. The living are in turn fed by the precious memories of their ancestors, and they thank them for all that they have taught. But what's with that hat? You look like a skeletal Mary Poppins, said Emerson, who was genuinely curious. Well, La Catrina is not only a bridge between the world of the living and dead, she is also a bridge between modern Mexicans and their Aztec indigenous past? Answered Selena without missing a beat. The Aztecs had a goddess named Mictecacihuatl, who was the guardian of the dead. At the time La Catrina entered our culture, she was inspired by the images of Mictecacihuatl. But the artists who drew her with this hat to point out that too many proud indigenous people were abandoning their culture and heritage, putting on the clothes and hats that were popular in France and England at the time, like the one Mary Poppins wore. La Catrina's hat is worn ironically, reminding us not to forget our roots or to try to be something we're not. That's part of why I'm dressing as her this year. I'm not only connecting the living with their beloved dead, but I am connecting myself with my authentic past, a proud Aztec woman. By this time, the four friends had almost forgotten about trick-or-treating. They fell quiet again, thinking about Rama, thinking about Hecate, thinking about La Catrina, and all the millions of souls whose presence they felt within them in their daily lives, echoing so much love, so much laughter, telling them to celebrate lives lived as much as they mourn lives lost. A slow, pensive tune rose on the wind, and before they turned their attention to Emerson, they took the time to listen.
As the wind stirred the dried leaves at their feet, Rajesh, Amaya, and Selena looked at Emerson, who returned from their reverie at the start. Oh, I guess it's my turn. Originally I was going to have you guess who I was dressed as, and I was going to give you the hint that I'm a famous Unitarian from the 19th century. Rajesh rolled his eyes. You know that wouldn't really narrow it down, right? Amaya looked at her friend's costume up and down. Well, you have that lacy thing on your head, so I would have known you're not dressed as your namesake. They all laughed. Yeah, chuckled Emerson. Good old Waldo was much more partial to suits and cravats. But even though everyone recognizes Florence Nightingale's name, they don't realize she was Unitarian. The friends started tossing out names of other amazing Unitarian women. Margaret Fuller, Frances Watkins Harper, Olympia Brown. She was a Universalist, Emerson corrected. Selena said, I always liked that image of the lady with the lamp. Emerson beamed. Florence Nightingale was so amazing. When she was just 16, she felt called to help people, and even went against her parents' wishes to become a nurse. She's especially famous for her work during the Crimean War. At the time, hospitals were pretty gross. Florence led the work in transforming them into sanitary places, offering nutritious food and comfort to the soldiers. Within 6 months, get this, the death rate at the hospital dropped from 40% of patients to just 2%. Oh my goodness, 2%, can you imagine? And if all that weren't enough, Florence's data helped bring even more public health improvements to the British Army. I wanted to honor her as a Unitarian ancestor, Emerson continued, because she did do so much good in the world, the way she wanted to since she was young, just like me. I figure I'm also a living reminder that people really need to wash their hands these days. All four of them giggled. Most importantly, though, said Emerson, I love how she checked on each soldier at night, bringing comfort as she went from bed to bed with her reassuring light. Rajesh held his lantern high. To Florence Nightingale. Amaya followed suit. To Rama. Selena raised hers as well. To Hecate. Emerson completed the quartet. To La Katrina. As soon as the last word rang out, a gust of wind rattled the flames in their lanterns, but none of the lights went out. The children started laughing and chatting as they began their trick-or-treating at last, solid in the knowledge that their friendship would continue to shine brightly, whatever the days ahead might hold. Blessed be.
ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters.
We've passed the flame from person to person, and it has come here to this sanctuary, as our shared warmth so often does. Whether or not you were able to join the montage, I encourage you to light a candle in honor of your ancestors, in the widest sense of the word. We extinguish this chalice, but not the memories of our beloved dead, the connections of sacred community, or the warmth of abiding love. These we carry in our hearts always.